Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to the third hangout of the Security Culture Summer Camp. We are today going rather deep into the topics, and the topics is the topic of today as well. I am not alone here this fantastic summer day. I am here with my partner, Mo Amin, who has been working very actively with the Security Culture Framework for quite some time now. And he will be sharing some of his ideas and his ways of doing topics and activities. So let's say hello, Mo.
Hello, Kai. Hello, everybody watching. I hope you're well. Thank you for having me. It's a nice sunny day in London as well.
Wow, that is rare, isn't it?
Sorry?
Sunny days in London, they are rare.
Yeah, we save them up, and then we have a couple of weeks.
That sounds fantastic. It's like something we could learn over here in Norway. So far in the Security Culture Summer Camp, that means you, the student that is watching, hopefully, have been looking into what the Security Culture Framework is. You have learned about the overall process with setting a goal over here somewhere, and then knowing where you are today, and then making the objectives, the path between where you are and where you want to be. Then you have used those knowledge to define points of measurements where you can figure out how do you know that you reach each of these phases. That was all in the metrics module. And then the past week, you've been working with the organization. All the people in your organization, understanding their needs, where they come from, hopefully a little bit about where they are going as well. And how you can use that knowledge to adapt your message into what they need. And that message that you should be crafting is this week's topic. In the framework, we call that topics, the topics part or module or whatever is the current name. And that topic is how you choose to find information or activities and how you adapt that to the needs of your target audience and also to the needs of your organization in the sense of what your targets are. And the main purpose here, the main reason, I am hearing myself. Oh my God. Well,
I dropped out for a minute. Am I back?
Yeah, you are back, and I am back, and hopefully I didn't drop out, but you did, hopefully. If not, then I did, and then everybody lost me.
What were you saying? Where were you?
Yes, exactly. So the topics are all about how you take and craft your message, the means of that message, and how you tune it to your target audience, which you have been defining in the past assignment, and how that resonates and helps you reach those goals that you define in your first assignment. And that brings us to the assignment for this week, actually, because you are here to learn, so there will be more work for you. Let me show you this week's assignment. I will show you the template that we will be using this week. Let me just click like this. Then hopefully on your screen now is the template, which is called activities. You can download this from the Security Culture Framework website, or you can just use the one that we attached to your learning lesson this week. The template looks like this. It's basically a form, and the form itself is not really that difficult from other forms, surprisingly enough, but it taps into what you have done so far in the framework. So first you state the goal, and this is to remind you which objective or goal that this particular activity is helping you achieve. Then you can give the activity a title, which helps you know what it is. Add a type, which say it is a poster or sticker or a training or whatever, then add that type there. If you need, you can also have categories like taxonomy or something like that. The duration of the activity, and this is the duration in weeks or days that you plan to run this particular activity. And then some of these activities may require resources. Resources can be anything like printing posters or putting them up on the walls, or hiring a trainer, or buying e-learning program, or whatever it is that you need. Put the resources you need in there. Often there will be some cost associated with this, so adding them in there helps you to understand. If you need the sources from outside, there will usually be some sort of supplier. And then comes who is responsible of this activity, who is the owner of the activity. And sometimes it's you being the one in charge of the security in your organizations. Other times it makes sense to delegate this to someone else. So knowing who you delegate it to is important. Then there is a question there. It says, why is this a good activity? And the key question here, the reason we have that question, is to help you quality control and realize or question the activity itself. And what we hope to achieve by asking that question is some kinds of proof that this particular activity is helping you reaching that target or goal that you did define earlier, and that this activity is a good activity for reaching that goal. Then further down the screen here is ordered, which is just a status that you have ordered it. If you have, then who did it, when to start the activity, when you end it, if it's completed, the dates, and then a big white spot again, which is said results. In the results here is where you will create a quick report of what actually results you created with this activity. And then, of course, you can ask yourself, so how do I know what results I get? And this is when you go back to the metrics module and think, how did I want to measure the goals here, and use those measurements to document your results. Then, of course, it's important to always improve. So that's why we have changes for next run, which is your thoughts, your ideas of what you would be doing differently or more of or less of within this particular activity. Type them in there. Then, of course, you can ask yourself, why do you want to do that? And the reason is that, let's say that you run several campaigns a year, but this particular activity is only part in one particular campaign that you run once this year, and then maybe you won't run it again until next year sometime. And then remembering or taking your notes and then using this sheet when you create your next activity for your next campaign makes a lot of sense. And if you are anything like me, which biology tells me that you might be, then your memories may not serve you as well as you think it does, especially a year or two from now. So putting it down and keeping this document for later references makes a lot of sense. And for the assignment, what we want you to do today or this week is to create 3 types of activities that helps you reach the goals that you defined in the first part or your first assignment, and that is targeted to the target audience that you chose in your second assignment. So what we are doing this week is starting to tie together the information and the assignments from the previous assignments. And we will be continuing with that as the assignments for next week and the final assignment are given. So that's this week's template. I think that it should be quite self-explanatory. But if it is not, if you need any kind of help, reach out to us either on support@roar.com or by email to me, or use the forums at securitycultureframework.net. Whenever, wherever you need help, we are here to help you. But that's the boring bit of today. Let's move on to the fun part. And Mo, you are, as you know, one of the fun parts of the framework. And yeah, well, yes, we try to make some fun, not of you, but with you, obviously.
I hope it's not of me, Kai.
We try to avoid that. We try to be friends. But one of the things that I find very, very interesting with you, Mo, is your experiences from doing things differently when it comes to activities. One of your things is what you call awareness demonstrated. Would you care to share a little bit what you mean by that, and how others can kind of tap into your knowledge there?
Yeah, I came up with that slogan by accident, and then somebody said I should use it. And when I looked back, I thought, oh, I've actually been doing that. I just haven't codified it. But basically, what it means is most of the stuff that we kind of talk about or put down into a document, we don't really we don't demonstrate it to people. So when we say you should have strong passwords, or don't click these links, etc., or make sure you don't use Wi-Fi out in public and use a VPN, all that sort of stuff, it's very difficult for people to understand if you haven't visualized it, if you haven't kind of stood up on stage and demonstrated it. So I've always said, look, you should actually have something along the lines of a lunch and learn, or demonstrate at briefings, security briefings. You show people how a weak password is cracked opposed to a strong one, or you kind of somehow visualize what an SQL injection attack looks like. So all the things that we talk about, I think you should be able to kind of help people say, right, okay, that's what it looks like. This is what you've been talking about. So that's what I mean by awareness demonstrated is awareness achieved, because I think it kind of works a lot better than when it's in a policy, or when you go around telling people, or if you lock people in a room in a PowerPoint presentation type thing. So, as a security function, you should maybe get up and stand up and kind of, when they have management briefings, you can have security briefings. You could say, look, these are the sorts of things we do, and engage and kind of open up and say, look, come along and look at what we do.
So basically what you're saying is that you should bring your Pineapple or whatever hacking device you have into the boardroom, or somewhere like that. Yeah, exactly, that thing there.
I actually got one the other day. So and the premise to get one was to build like a workshop or something along those lines, to say, look, I can use this as a rogue AP type thing. So if you're out and about, this is the reason why you shouldn't just kind of use Wi-Fi and use Wi-Fi without going through a VPN at least.
And instead of just telling me that, Kai, stop doing that, or be very careful when doing that, what you are actually doing then is to use those devices or your skills and knowledge and show it to me what happens in real time when I try to connect to this Wi-Fi or whatever it is.
Yeah, the concept is basically the same. Yeah, you essentially attempt to kind of demonstrate what it backs up the messages that you've been giving. So it backs up the policies and the posters you've been putting out, etc. So that works to a certain extent, but when you want to reach people, really reach people, and they say, oh, okay, now I know what you're talking about, tell me more, it's through that sort of activity that you should be doing, and that works really well.
And when would you, or in what kind of context would you suggest to do something like that?
You could have potentially lunch and learn sessions. You could have workshops. It does obviously depends on the environment that you're in and the current existing culture. But there are opportunities for you to do that. I've been in places where they do have like weekly management briefings, and sometimes security used to stand up and kind of say, well, this month we've stopped this many incidents, etc. And you could, put in there something like a demonstrative thing, and it appeals to lots of people. And I think even Shan Lee from Just Eat, he does stuff like that. So it does work.
So, and in this, for example, management meeting, would it then be a good idea to have your directors to try out their password, for example, like typing it in somewhere, and then you can show them how easily you can crack them?
If you can set it up, that's an ideal way to do it, because then you get the right people engaged. Lots of companies do have these kind of huddles or management briefings, and I think security teams should kind of try and get their foot in there, even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That way, you're kind of raising awareness of the security department. You're not just hidden away, siloed. So it's about building the brand as well, and kind of getting out there and getting people to know who you are and what you do, and popping your bubble, as the talk that I gave in Oslo not so long ago.
And all this sounds, of course, very nice and something that I'm sure you can do. But I had two questions then. First of all, this must be extremely expensive. And then how can I be able to do that in my organization with no budgets?
Well, if depending on the size of your organization, you've already got a technical team there of sorts. So there's IT there, there's somebody from the operational security department. I don't think it's very expensive to do those sorts of things. It's very easy to set up a couple of virtual machines to kind of show certain things. It's very Wi-Fi Pineapple is very cheap for a security department to invest in. Even a small company, it's more about the intent. And obviously, you don't have to go out, massively. You look at your environment and look at the sort of people that you want to reach, and say, oh, actually, we can, with the right intent, we can build something where we can demonstrate things. So I don't think.
Quick question then. This pineapple thing that we keep referring to, can we use it to anything else but just demonstrating security?
I'm messing around with it at the moment, but you can use it. People use it as a pen test, pivot point, a rogue access thing. So there's a couple of things that people can do with it, but that's not the only thing you should be looking at. I mean, you can easily demonstrate how quickly weak passwords are cracked as opposed to strong ones. There's lots of stuff out there. I think it's engaging the right technical people in your environment, because there are network guys who know about this stuff. There are the IT security side of guys. So the InfoSec guys who go and do the awareness stuff, they need to pop their bubble and go and liaise with the right technical people. Say, hey guys, we want to get this message across. How do you think we should do it best? We've got this idea. And it's when you do that, people get interested, and you can actually begin to kind of get your word out there and start to engage.
And when you can use this kind of technology, or as you say, maybe you already have this kind of technology, then maybe there is not this huge investment on the organizational part. Maybe you just take an hour and some equipment and some knowledge you already have and put it in the lunchroom.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's exactly that. I think most places do have the right people already in there. It's just actually opening up and building that relationship with them. And you take the security culture framework, and then you've got the how to talk to the right people, to engage the right people, the metrics that you want to set, and then the planning around it. So it does come down to the right intent, and if you get the right people, i.e. management, involved, they'll say, look, go and do it, and actually it's not as expensive as you may think it is.
That's very, very cool, because that is a question I get quite a lot. We don't have funding, or we don't have a lot of budgets. So how can we build awareness? How can we change and create the culture we want without a huge expense or budget? So that's a very, very good tip, to use technology, use the competence you have in-house, and just take it out from your IT area, and bring it into the organization and show it off.
Yeah, most corporate environments already have the right people there. It's just utilizing their skills, and that's down to building the relationships. You approach the people in the right manner, ask nicely, and say, look, I need help on this. I know what I want to do, but I'm not technically savvy in this element. We want to demonstrate this. Can you help us? And people do.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool. So that's one way to create that kind of culture, both cultural sharing and knowledge, and tapping into existing things. But what other activities can we consider to help us build culture? Do you have some ideas? Except he is gone, or I am gone. I'm hoping I am not gone. If I am gone, you're not hearing this, so then it doesn't matter. But if I am not gone, then I should stop rambling and then rather do something useful, right? So other activities that can be applied or to build and maintain your security culture consist of, for example, posters and stickers and all those stuff that we've been doing for awareness for a long time. You can do trainings. You can do different kinds of assessments, and you can walk around and talk to people. But you can also do something else, which is to use the three bubbles that we talked about in the introduction of this training course, the combination of people, policy, and technology, which means that you can free yourself from only thinking in one dimension. Maybe you can do a policy change or tune your technology in such a way that it makes the people factor, which we are working with when it comes to culture, do something else. So activities can and probably should, in many cases, consist of different kinds of techniques and tools. So, for example, let's say that you decide to change a policy, then it would make sense to both tell this and train the employees on one side, but also to maybe see how can I tune my technology to help people comply with this policy change. So looking beyond just the obvious of posters and stickers and trainings and whatnot, and looking at how you can use your full environment to help your people to do what you want them to do makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, we lost Mo. It's sunshine in London, which probably means that he went off to swim in the Thames or something. Hopefully not. And it could also be his pineapple being hacking with him, which sometimes happens, or some other boring stuff. But that's all fine because his most important. He is back. Wow.
Sorry,
fantastic.
my Wi-Fi is my connection is flaky.
Yeah, well, you are back. That's the most important. And I actually got to go through the other side of things, like using policies and technology to build security culture as well as part of your activities.
One other thing I was going to kind of mention is to engage in some sort of job, not job share, but shadowing. So where if you do it smartly and you know, again with the right intent, you open up and you say, listen, we're the InfoSec team and this is how we do things. We're more than happy for, you know, anybody from the business to come and maybe shadow us for half a day. I know it's difficult, and I know, you know, some places that might not work, but I have seen it work in a couple of places where somebody from the InfoSec team has gone and shadowed another department for half a day and they've learned things, and vice versa. And that's a really good way to actually help to build culture, break down the barriers and build the right relationships. Because
I have seen that as well, and it is a very, very good idea and a good way to share competence. And that leads me to another way of doing that, which is creating ambassadors throughout your organization, which I know both of us have been discussing before. And the basic idea there is a lot of people are interested in this topic of security, and although it's not their main job, by sharing information and allowing them to kind of come and discuss with you, you can create like small hubs of security professionals, or at least people who care about security throughout your organization.
And call them security advocates, security champions.
Exactly. And to do that is not really an expense either, because they are interested and they will kind of do things as long as you facilitate that process.
Yeah, I mean, if you kind of, we've said it before, and lots of people are saying it, if you target the messages for people at home and you build something, you know, you give them something that they can use at home, people begin to be interested. Because I think a lot of people are aware of the risks, but you just have to get them to understand those risks in the context of the business environment. And I've always said you just elevate people's awareness rather than kind of say, right, you don't know this, we're going to teach you this, or we're going to tell you this, and you're going to listen. It's you just elevate people's awareness, and then if you do it smartly and you do it with the right intent, people begin to engage. And if you do kind of tailor the messages for home, which are generally they correlate to the business environment, you will get kind of good interaction and feedback.
And to do that for home, it makes sometimes many of us are parents, and then giving tips on how you can help your children to be more safe online also drips back to the parents and then comes back to the work. So there are many ways of building and changing this kind of culture internally. And I think our most important point here, Mo, is be creative. Don't let any kind of frames keep you from trying something new.
Yeah, I think you have to kind of start, get into the kind of the social media side type things and the videos. Maybe you create an intranet page with your security people and they have their own personalities, those sorts of things. So people begin to know them, and you create content that people can come and say, oh, that's quite interesting, rather than pushing things into people's inbox or attempting to get them to go and do mandatory type things. So if you create the right content and the right messages, people can say, and you generate the right interest, they will begin to say, oh, I'm quite interested in that.
And by doing that as well, the big challenge is to understand if the things you do works or gives results or not. And now dear student, how to define your targets and set out to figure out how to actually measure the impact you are creating. And when you do that, then the fear of testing new ideas should be much, or you can take that fear away, because you know that you can test something and see, okay, the results will tell me if this works or not. It's no longer just a question of doing some humble mumbo magic and hoping.
Yeah, and the other thing is the momentum. You can't just maybe do it for a few months and then taper off and then nobody hears. It's a proper program piece of work that evolves, and you've got to keep on doing it and attempt to keep people engaged with new activities. And so the momentum is a key thing.
It's absolutely a momentum, and it's about building that momentum and then keeping it and then using that to change and create that kind of culture that you want in your organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
A question to the viewer: if you watch this live and you have any questions, please type them into the page right away, please. If not, we will not be able to cover them. And from you type and hit enter or whatever, it takes a few seconds before it actually shows up on the screen. So we will give you 5 more minutes of special tips, and then we will shut down if there are no questions. So if you have any kind of questions for today's host, please write them now. Any final things that you or tips that you would like to share with us, Mo?
I think we've covered most of them, but I would say, look, if you should definitely kind of attempt to build your InfoSec brand. You should definitely try to go and engage with the business, especially the lunch and learn type stuff is really easy to do. And if you can in your environment, try and do the kind of the job kind of shadowing type thing, even if it's for like half a day. Go to the legal department or any department. Depends on the size of your business, but say, listen, we're the InfoSec department. These are the things we do, and get out there and actually pop your bubble, so to speak.
And by building a brand, are we talking now that the security team needs to actually be marketeers?
Well, I think they should at least go and talk to the marketing department and say, listen, can you help us to elevate our stance, so to speak? They should become marketeers, because essentially you have a message that you're trying to get out. We have this echo chamber in InfoSec. Let's not have the echo chamber in the business and just talk to ourselves about certain things. Let's actually get out and kind of learn those marketing skills. And if you have got a marketing team, then go and engage with them. I've sat down with marketing teams to say, look, I've got this really good idea, but it's in my head and I don't have the skills to actually sell it, market it. And they've come up with things to say, look, here we go. This is in the corporate speak. It's in line with business, the way that the document should be delivered. You can go and do it. So rather than InfoSec kind of, sending out an email or something and creating something and then later on finding out, well, actually, it needs to be reworded because it's not in line with the corporate way of doing things.
Branding your InfoSec team by sending them out and talking to people, I'm thinking that must also create another bonus, so to say, that you, security person, you get to meet the rest of the business and you get to talk to them, and maybe you can even learn from their needs. How do they see security, and then try to understand what are their day job, what are they doing, and then you can adapt your message to their needs possibly.
Yeah, and that comes a part of if you're doing like the shadowing thing, or even if you, as you just say, you just go and do walkabouts. You actually, fit it into your day somewhere. It doesn't
take a security culture walkabout. I like that.
There you go. Take a walk. I mean, I've done it before, and especially when you're new to the environment, you go and introduce yourself, and you sit down with somebody over a coffee or whatever, and say, look, this is what I'm planning to do. What do you do on a daily basis? What is your gripe with security? Or when people begin to talk to you, you can pick up certain things and say, actually, there's a project in line coming down the pipeline that may be able to kind of help you with regards to X, Y, and Z. So I mean, we say it again, it is actually just getting out and actually talking to people and building that relationship. Because if you, go in, sit at your desk, do your stuff and go home without actually kind of taking part and going to, build those relationships, you won't know.
So I guess that's the crux of today. Go out there, talk to your colleagues, be a part of the company culture, and learn by their needs by communicating with them. And I'm pretty certain that if you do that, you will be surprised that people actually come back to you after a while and ask for advice and want you to share your knowledge with them.
They do. Let's be honest. They don't always come back with the happiest of things sometimes, but that's how you learn. And oftentimes you do get people say, "Oh, thanks for that. I appreciate that," because nobody else from the InfoSec department has ever come to me to talk to me about what they do and what we do. And from that, you can pick up stuff that they might be looking to learn, topics. So they may suggest certain things. And it's always, remember, it's a two-way thing. You don't want to go and say, right, these are our topics and this is what you're going to listen to and learn and evolve with. But they may come out with ideas and say, look, oh, I'm interested in this. Can you put this into your awareness? Can you put this into your videos? So it works both ways.
Which is fantastic. It works both ways, but you have to start it. So it's your job to build this culture. We are teaching you the tools and the tricks of the trade. Now it's your turn to take this and put it into practice in your organization. Your assignment this week is to choose this or create 3 activities that will help you reach the goals that you have defined and that resonates with your target audience. With that, it's time to say goodbye and good luck. And thank you very much, Mo, for being with us today and for sharing your valuable insights.
I hope it helps.
I'm sure it helps. Thank you too for watching. And as always, if there's anything we can do for you, please use support@roar.com or contact me directly. We are here to help you succeed. It's what we do. Have a nice day. Now I'll have a glass of wine. Ciao, ciao.